right, guys. Great job, Savvy. All right, guys. Great job, Savvy.
We have someone in our community that from South Korea actually, and he has a YouTube stream he does there that actually gets pretty popular. But they actually had I think 10% of the shares traded for Bed Bath were in South Korea, and I just know that there's different international rules. Like the United States is one of the few countries, if the only one, that doesn't allow a contract for different shares. And it's just mind blowing to me that somehow those shares aren't allowed here, but you can borrow them from another country and then sell them here as if they're real shares. And somehow that's okay. It's just the weirdest thing that that's legal. But it is good to know that people like countries like South Korea are cracking down on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Busy, people are complaining that the space is glitching really bad.
This one or yours?
No, yours.
Well,
I
I mean,
know
we were.
mine over there was bot attacked, guys.
Yeah,
We
and I
know.
was
There's
taking care of that.
nothing we can do about it, but
Blocking, and
yeah, I was
deleting
blocking.
comments. So yeah, they tried, but I mean, uh, I seems to be okay with me. I got Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Um, can everybody hear me? Just thumbs up
I
from the
yeah.
community,
Yeah, I
from the
think we
list.
got you.
Okay, Mark, I know that you're on speaker stage. Anybody in the listener, thumbs up. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
I,
I'm actually. Oh, there we go. One person.
yeah, I'm getting thumbs up. All right, go ahead, 100.
Yeah, no, I kind of wanted to take a stab at Michael's question. Look, it's a bleeding of the lines, and I'm going to give you some examples. The Department of Treasury utilizes their relationship with the Pentagon as well as the Secret Service through FinCEN. And there are certain laws, like Chapter 115, treason, sedition, and subversive activities that include seditious conspiracy, 2384. And then there's the concentration of accounts that is under U.S. law, 31 USC 5318, compliance, exemptions, and summons authority. And then you have executive orders on top, which would be Executive Order 13848, not 13838, 18848. So just to make that correction. And the subsections of 50 USC 1701 and 1702, all of these statutes indicate and give the power not only to the US Treasury, but to the states to activate as participants for national security reasons. So if the states raise an international claim, all property that is held via US assets can be addressed as a national security matter. It cannot be addressed independent of that. So there's a conjunction of different things that are involved. So it can be addressed, but it has to activate multiple areas
But
of
but since they're not
law.
actually shares, it's just a contract with an international bank that they're agreeing to pay the change in price. So it's just something that tracks the price. So is that really considered? Is a GameStop share internationally considered like property of the United States, or is it considered property of the United States once it's borrowed and then sold here?
If the transaction involves a U.S. asset, then yes, because technically under these statutes that I referred to, they deal with the organizations that handle them. And if there's a break or a chain of custody, then it becomes an even more sensitive issue for the US government to get involved. You're basically
Okay,
committing
well,
fraud. Yeah.
I hope they're doing it. I mean, I don't know. Do you have any? I mean, do you think that that's on the horizon? I don't know. I mean, like, who would be following up that?
Well, there's a lot of information that suggests that the US government has, I mean, that's the whole purpose of why FinCEN was created after the Patriot Act in 2001. So the advancement of that technology and the services in which they provide for the US government are indicated not only through their enforcement actions, but also through executive orders. So there is indication that they are involved, especially when sanctions are in play.
All right, let me move on to hands real quick, guys. Let's go with Jana.
All right, so everybody knows this is my alt account because my account was locked down completely today with a blue check mark. So I have no access to my other accounts and have had a nightmare all day today with it. Savvy, great space. I think we got a lot of insight in that the assets are not going to be used to fund the legal efforts. So I thought that was very telling, and I think it gave us a lot of hope for the MMAT investors.
Yeah, I think. Oh wait, John, I think you just locked out. Let's give her a
No, I'm
second.
here.
Oh, there you are.
I'm
Okay,
here.
go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, I stopped.
Oh, okay. So what I was going to say is, yeah, that was one of the things that stuck out in my mind. There were several things, but guys, I have a hard time when I'm in the middle of that hearing it, so I'm going to have to listen to it again. The recording's intact. I just went and checked it. People said it kept looping the first 2 seconds, but I went and checked it. It seems fine for me. But yeah, he indicated that it sounds like to me they're seeking private funding. So potentially through a venture capitalist firm. Also, he pointed out that it's at least $100 million case. That venture capitalists don't get into something unless it's at least that. So that was something that he confirmed as well. But much to the disappointment of the MMTLP community, Broadridge and DTC refused to give up MMTLP data. So why, oh, why are we always the exception? Now, of course, they can, look at MMAT and how many of the shorts from Torch were moved and repositioned into MMAT. That will, of course, give them some clues. But unfortunately, they just aren't giving up the data. But remember, guys, it's only 2.65 million open short positions. Yeah.
Hey, can I ask Johanna what happened with her account?
I actually announced this morning that I got a return call from Jack Chase or from the SEC office because I had left a message for Jack Chase. Within 20 minutes of me mentioning that, my account completely shut down, locked up. I have a blue check mark, so it's my business account. So I went in and I did 20 or 30 of those tests to verify that I'm not a robot, and I cannot get into my account no matter what. It's not recognizing my user name at all at this point. So yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that. The reason I asked is because I was given advice to change my login credentials on a couple of my accounts because since I've gained traction on these space calls with different communities, I've had people try to access my email account that's associated with my Twitter account several times. And when I was given the advice to do so, I got a very interesting phone call from someone who is a influencer in these communities, just checking in, and I hadn't heard from them in a while. And I was told that when I did that, when I changed my email, I would be hearing from one of three people, and I did within 24 hours. So I say that to say this, based on what you just told me and what I just experienced in the last week and a half, People in the community, it might be time to freshen up your login credentials and maybe change a couple of passwords, just for your own safety.
Hey guys, I couldn't agree with you more, Mark. Sorry to bust in here. Danny, can you throw that up in the nest? Somewhat unrelated to the topic, but definitely breaking news. Julian Assange has cut a deal with the U.S. Justice Department, is going to be released from prison and going back home. That is coming out of NBC News. Mariano Fall just posted that Julian Assange will be released after 5 years in British prison following a plea deal with the U.S. Justice Department. Charged with conspiracy to obtain and disclose national defense information, Assange's deal will lead to a 62-month sentence with credit for time served. He is expected to return to Australia. Assange has been in a Belmarsh prison since 2019 after spending 7 years in the Ecuadorian embassy. He has fought U.S. extradition for the U.S. for over a decade. So, may seem like good news, but honestly, makes me a little nervous. I hope that he has some protection. But anyway, guys, yeah, Julian Assange is being released. Okay, commence
I'll
the
put it in the
MMTLP
nest,
stock talk.
Savvy.
Yeah, thanks.
So next was William. William, you got the mic, William.
I'm here. I didn't have my hand up, but that was a great call. I'm trying to go through things I learned. In general, it seems like a long, winding road, which is fine. We're ready for the fight, but um, it's not going to be quick and it's not going to be cheap. He mentioned something about how if they don't get you the shares, they get you money or something. I thought I wrote it down. And I thought that was interesting when you're determining damages. Um, you just get a cash payout, but I guess that's normal. And then he said if you haven't sold your shares, you don't have standing. That was interesting to me. But anyway, it was a great call, Junk, and busy. And I did wonder. I think I sent it to Junk Savvy. Well, she was way too busy. Whether or not, if Nextbridge were to raise money, sort of now or in a few months, and they had to raise it at a low price relative to what they could have, whether or not that but for argument would stand for Nextbridge to say, hey, you cost us. If you hadn't interfered and manipulated, not only would we have done this a year ago, we would have done it at higher prices and we'd be further down the road. But I don't know. Anyway, those are my initial comments. It was a great call, guys.
Well, let me say this. When Wes did speak about that specifically, he was talking about claims of market manipulation. So you would have had to have sold your shares and realized those losses in order to participate in a claim regarding. He was talking specifically about a class action and a claim for market manipulation. I don't think he was equating it to the brokers refusing to deliver our next rate shares. So I think there is a distinction there. But I'll go back and listen, William, and
Great.
make.
No, that's great. Okay. I'm okay. That's good. That's a good answer.
Because of course, William, and it depends on the harm that was done. Of course, different harm for different people. We see in the intercoastal waterways case that there were various levels of harm that were alleged there. But for most of us, we believe that the harm came through the fraudulent acts of FINRA and breaking their own Rule 6490 and the issuing of the U3 halt, especially with all the recent information about the gross conflicts of interest of the people that made that decision. But there are also claims that our dividends have not been delivered. For those people that cannot transfer to AST for whatever reason, those may potentially be different claims. You would, of course, not have had to sell your shares to make those claims. And so I really do think it was specific to claims of market manipulation that you can't participate until the damages are realized.
Isn't it amazing how the criminals, let's just call them that, Wall Street, thought of everything? They thought of getting an exemption for RICO on the federal level. I mean, it's just incredible. But what was encouraging is the groundswell and his full support of this. Trillions of dollars, and it's patriotic, I think he said. Of course, he stands to make a lot of money, but I think he is leading the charge, as are all of you. So that was heartening. We might just break through.
Yeah, and that's why he specifically brought up the state RICO statutes, and I agree with him that it is in the states that I think this battle is going to be waged. That they are the ones that are equipped, particularly because of those issues, those RICO statutes in the individual states. For those of you that don't know, just a few years ago, securities fraud was stripped out of the RICO statutes at the federal level, but they are not at the state level. And so it makes sense. But here's a challenge, and I didn't really bring this up with him because we have spoken about this as a community before, is that a lot of these smaller AGs cannot wage these wars against these big companies that have, as Wes said, 15 lawyers each. Right. And so that's when you see the true power of the state's attorney generals is when they combine their resources together and go after these guys together. So just something I know we didn't get into, but that is certainly
And
to think about.
one more thing, Savvy, their state constitutions activate as well.
Right, who's next? We got plenty of mics open, so please request a mic.
And guys, if you're holding a mic, go ahead and raise your hands if you want to chime in. Okay. I see how you there. So how you, if you want to share a thought, just raise your hand so that we know you want to chime in.
Yeah, he's not on speaker stage. I don't know why
Oh, then maybe I'm glitching. Okay.
he dropped off. But okay, so while we wait for people to take a mic, all right. So next Monday, July 1st, is gonna be a veteran space call. I will be hosting that space call. There's plenty of community members who are reaching out to some congressional members. The people working in the background is Glass Guy, Dr. E, Lowell, Jen Capella, Syntax, and many others. So I appreciate the community reaching out to the congressional reps to see if they want to join the Veteran Space Call. I have a few special guests. The one special guest that's coming in is going to be Colonel Alan Bradshaw. He is an MMTLP shareholder. He flew Marine One for two presidents. So he's going to be the special guest. Unfortunately, because there is some sabotaging going on within the community, I'm not going to name the guests who are actually booked to attend that space call. I will wait to the very last moment that I can to actually put that information out there. But I do have commitments from three already.
Excellent, Busy.
Go ahead, Lawrence.
Oh, thank you, Busy. And Busy, that was good thinking there, holding that name of the guest till the last moment. That was really good, Busy. Right on, man. Um, but the guest that you did mention, the Lieutenant Colonel, right? He was flying for Ronald Reagan and George Bush. He's and he's invested with us. And wow, that you've got a real honorable guest there to look forward to listening to him. Uh, it it tells me that what we're acknowledged or recognized is huge, and it's not just a one occurrence on a one ticker symbol and all of that. And it's just amazing, There's and to have this many people affected by so much difficulty and so much unlawful conduct and premeditated conduct and collusion, and to make this many people and a gentleman and an officer like the lieutenant colonel, uh, it's just so this thing is just. And, but you know what? this community effort, doing this and stuff like that, these are the moments, these are the opportunities that strengthen us, realize, this is something, we're in it together. This is shoulder to shoulder. This is, sure, it's going to be hard work, but we're, we're standing our ground. And to look at the character of the people and the conduct of the people, they make sacrifices and travel and take time to carry these call spaces and arrange for people with itineraries and things that have to be arranged. And so these are the facts that help me and others, knowing that we have good grace and we have good consciousness and we're doing this right every step of the way. I'll give it back to you guys.
Thank you, Lawrence. And by the way, guys, I'm getting DMs that we're getting bot attacked again. Uh, so the space might be glitchy. I know it's not my service. I got full Wi-Fi. So my apologies if the space is glitching. Uh, Again, some of the people that are helping in the background, if you didn't hear, it was Glass Guy, Dr. E, Lowell, Jen Capella, and Syntax. If the community is going to invite congressional members, just DM me. That way I can put them on the list. That way, if they are scheduled in, uh, once I once I have my co-host and myself, we're able to add them in as speakers when the space call takes place. There's going to be a lot of scheduling, so for right now, it's going to be held July 1st. That's a Monday, July 1st at 6 p.m. Eastern time. I cannot thank enough, Michael. I know that you're helping too, and it's always appreciate what you do for the MMTLP community, helping in anything that you can, reaching out. So I just got to give you your shout outs. Go ahead, Costas.
Thanks, man.
Actually, Costas, give me a second. It's Funds Reaper first, and then you, Costas.
Can you hear me, Busy?
I can, sir. Yes, go ahead.
All right, just two questions for you or Junk, either or. This has been just a little while, and I can't remember exact date or whatever I was listening to, but Houston Wade had mentioned something about T0 and like a blockchain with NBH maybe possibly doing some type of special dividend. And I don't know if that ever, if anything ever came of that, but basically that would kind of lock you in where your brokers would have to register the shares in that person's name with T0. And this would help expose the actual total amount of number, whatever, because they obviously couldn't provide that. You'd have people sitting out without getting a dividend. And then the second question would be the companies that you're seeing, a lot of these companies CEOs starting to step up and say something or turn stuff into the SEC or hire lawyers. What is the possibility of these companies deciding to delist off our exchanges and relist on the South Korean exchange? And that's my two. Thank you.
Funds Reaper, I was just
If
saying
I could
that
answer,
today. I was just thinking the same thing, that we should NextBridge and other companies should just go list in South Korea.
Well, you know what? It's a great question. Let's start off with the second question, and then we'll go to the blockchain. Go ahead, Michael, and then we'll go back to Savvy.
yeah. So I think that might be in the works. A lot of people didn't understand what Roaring Kitty's stream was about, but while almost 1 million people were watching live, they got to see the market halt for no reason, like no new news. He just like started saying, "I'm going to end the stream," and then it just glitch out. And so I think that they're gathering evidence of reasons why the current system is not working and why they need to move to another system. And there's this huge argument because they know like the DTC, they know that like they're absolutely screwed if it goes to blockchain, because there are so many IOUs floating around. They would have no idea what to even do with it. And I really do think they're working on. I remember there was an SEC meeting that I watched back in, I think, December, and they said they were doing stress testing for the upcoming meme stock incident. And it was like, how did they know, like, what meme stock incident are they talking about? And it's that all the ones that have been heavily naked shorted, And you can see that the timeline of T0 and all the different regulatory approvals they're getting. In fact, the CEO of T0 was pretty high up in the New York Stock Exchange, and I think the New York Stock Exchange owns like 50% of the shares of T0. And looking through their patents, one patent that was from several months ago was basically the tokenization of a stock exchange, like that it could just kind of crawl through the current stock exchange and tokenize it. And so I think that it seems like everything's ready to go. The only thing that I saw and I think that they would know. I don't know. I think that it's all. There's a lot of players like working on it, because like there's reasons why. Like, for example, why did Ryan Cohen say like absolutely nothing at the GameStop shareholder meeting? I think it's because he basically just read what the SEC told him to read, because they don't want to cause any hype, because they know that already if they do move to T0 or some other kind of blockchain thing, that it would cause so much disruption that they wouldn't want anyone saying that it was just people pumping it. But there's so it wouldn't shock me if Ryan Cohen had a gag order. I mean, there's a possibility that people in meme stock communities currently have gag orders about similar things, and
Well, how about
so I think that's
okay?
coming. Yeah.
So how about this then? If this issue, which we all know is so drastic, so large that you're talking about entire liquidation market meltdown across the globe. If they know that, and we can't go to a T0 or a blockchain or anything like that until they deal with it, right? And so instead of continuing to avoid it before companies start to delist or say, you know what, this market's shit, then all our companies decide to leave it, causing some type of obviously failures and problems, right? Or harm to our markets. I don't understand why the SEC doesn't get with the government or whoever and say, hey, look, this is a major problem and it's going to be blown way out of control. So why don't we just admit to it? Why don't we, go after these people legally, and then we'll have to structure some type of unwind. And it may not be what everybody wants. It may not be, but it's not going to be, $100 trillion in damages that we can't pay. I mean, a lot of these stocks and stuff. I mean, if they're as over leveraged as people say they are, where you're this one's a billion, this one's a billion. You know what I mean? It's not coverable. So, and then also we do have the ability through, I guess, the old, the IRS that got changed, the tax code. We have the ability to go offshore and seize assets of all of these people that did this to help try to offset and pay for some of this stuff, right? So I don't know why that somebody doesn't just step in and say, it's going to have to be unwound somehow at some point, right? I don't know why they just don't do it in a
So
managed way.
there,
I'll take a
I
stab at
mean,
that
Okay.
after
okay.
100.
Yeah, no, it's he's mentioning FATCA and the power of the IRS, and also, there's a new financial system. In theory, it's called QFS, the Quantum Financial System. It competes against the current SWIFT system, and you have, different variations, different levels of the financial system that need to be addressed. Now, that's
You got a phone call?
He might, not me.
Yeah, he dropped off for
I'm,
me too.
are you talking to me? I might have had a phone call, but I don't taking a stab in the dark.
No, 100 had a phone call. Give him just a second, guys. So let me ask the other question about blockchain. Um, Here's what we know, Fund Reaper, is that Greg McCabe is very good at speaking for himself and the company. So let's go by his words and his words alone. I know there's a lot of talk by people that do not speak to him directly. And so, but I think he's very good at speaking for himself. They're in the infancy, or I think it's initial stages of pursuing a potential blockchain opportunity. That was stated in a press release. We have said, by the way, I believe a term aggressively pursuing. I've read all the press releases. That was not said, from what I understand. But they have definitely looked at it, according to Mr. McCabe. But there has been no announcement of a dividend or even that we are going to blockchain. The other statement that was said that even if we do go to blockchain, all of your shares will have to be transferred to AST because, of course, there will be a third party that will tokenize those shares. And they can't really tokenize more than the 165.5 million issued shares. Now, as far as a dividend, um, if they attempted to do a dividend with the subscription rights offering, they have assured us again, Greg McCabe, through a press release, that he plans to make those assets available to the shareholders. So we're still waiting to see where that moves forward. If when the updated financials are delivered, and if and when the S1 is made effective, and Mr. McCabe choose to sell any portion of those 40 million shares, which just as a reminder to anyone, he can sell those shares to anyone he wants in any amount he wants for any price that he wants. And he's the one that sets those terms and limits. But on a capital raise, could they do a distribution? It wouldn't be a dividend. It would be what's called a distribution. Yes, he can. But that has never been mentioned public, never discussed publicly. So again, it's trying to stick to the facts of what NextBridge has put out in their public statements, and that's kind of where we're at.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Savvy, can you take a co-host so I could reset the space? I gotta drop it.
Yep, I just did.
All right, continue on. I'm gonna drop off and reset.
Okay, Danny, are you back? Go ahead, 100.
Yeah, I crashed. So I forgot where I was at, but I guess what I was trying to indicate was that FATCA plays a big role in regards to the IRS, but that's a tool of FinCEN. Again, FinCEN is
That's right. Go ahead. A tool of
all right.
FinCEN.
Yeah, it's a tool of FinCEN, and it's really, activated through the Pentagon, so and the U.S. Treasury. So, having said that, you have a new theory of a financial system that's in development as we speak, and that is the QFS system, the quantum financial system. It competes against the SWIFT system that we know now that we utilize for various different reasons, including the defense of the economy. Um, so having said that, you look into the blockchain end of things, and you can see, the development of payment systems and the financial infrastructure via, Ripple and Aladdin that BlackRock has created. The problem that I see there is the fact that your securities lending agreements inside the institutional funds that have concentrated positions, same thing that poses a challenge for the consolidated audit trail. Um, these things need to be addressed, and until the underwriting aspect of it is truly addressed, meaning the auditors, what Wes was hinting to is in that they don't account for the shares. He's absolutely right, but I would argue the laws implement the stress of the corporations that are handling those shares. And if those corporations are uh, breaking the chain of custody of your property, a US asset, or committing fraud against a US asset, it is subject to the sanctions and actions of not just the US Treasury, but the President of the United States upon order, right? So you have to think about it. It's very complex, and it's designed that way for a reason, legally, because it has to follow a constitutional process. Um, so I'll just leave it at that. But there is a lot of power in the right area. You just need to know and understand how we get there.
Thank you for the explanation.
So the other half of that question that you asked, something to the effect of why doesn't somebody step in, or why hasn't like a conversation happened yet? Who's to say it hasn't happened? I'm firmly of the opinion, based on the fact that I think it was last summer, they had a meeting with the Fed, and then they had a 90-minute closed door meeting after the meeting. And in public policy and in the public space, everyone knows like there's the meeting, and then there's the meeting after the meeting where the real shit goes down. And I think that they've war gamed this out and that there's definitely a plan in place. But just like the debt ceiling, they'll kick this thing down, they'll kick the can down the road until they can't kick it down the road anymore, at which point, whatever they've already war gamed out, just like the hedge funds, like how the hell do we unwind this stuff? Like, if you don't think they haven't been like, planning and replanning, and as data comes in and positions are closed and new positions are opened over the last 2+ years, I think everyone who doesn't think that's fooling themselves. But I think that there's definitely a plan in place. I don't know what it is, but I think that I've said before on other space calls that we're going to get a taste, but we won't get the full meal, and that retail will be able to claim a win based on the fact that, like, say, GameStop runs to whatever price you want to insert, 3 or 4 digits per share, or MMTLP, or pick a stock here, and then the companies like Adam Aaron, we'll just say AMC. It's just easier that way. Adam Aaron can say, "Hey, look, I saved the company. We didn't go out of business. I'm going to retire now." And he'll retire, and he'll probably get some, no-show job at a hedge fund or a bank as reward for guiding, the ship through muddy waters. And retail will, if it runs to whatever, will say, "Hey, we, got whatever, and we saved the company." And the hedge funds will, some of them will go out of business, but some of them are going to stay in business. Everyone's going to get to claim a win. And I think that's what we're going to wind up seeing. Now, when that happens, I don't know. But I think that there's definitely a plan in place. There's so much money at stake. And, like, there's been leaked documents that we've all seen floating around on Twitter that say systemic risk. They literally cannot let this stuff run to the point where it crashes the stock market for some movie company and a game and a video game company where people go to, like, trade in old video games. If you think that they're going to let stocks like that and MMTLP or anything else crash the stock market, like, you're crazy. They would rather piss off all of retail and have us take our ball and go home in some shape or fashion when this is over, rather than let the stock market crash. But I think there's definitely a plan in place. What it is and when we'll see it, and how much we're going to like it, that I think that part remains to be seen. But I think they will kick this can down the road as much as they can, and the tap on the shoulder that you're asking about will only happen when one of two things happens. One, it behooves them to actually do the tap on the shoulder and settle the trades, because now it's politically expedient for whatever reason. Or two, they literally have to, just like in 08, and it was just a random Tuesday, and then all of a sudden, like, the market exploded, and then Bear Stearns went out of business and all that stuff. But that all just happened because they literally couldn't kick the can down the road anymore. So I think we're living through that all over again. When and what, don't know. But I think that there's definitely a plan in place. There has to be.
Well, but
That's why they make
when
millions.
you talk about, well, first of all, MMTLP is not trading, but
Well, I know
yeah,
that, but I mean,
well,
it all goes in the same basket. You know
yeah,
what I
but
mean?
that's actually my
All these
point,
heavily
is
shorted
it
stocks.
doesn't actually go in the same basket. So 100 and I had a very long discussion, and as he explained to me funding and these funds and how they all exist together and access each other's assets and things like that. So it's not like you have, a one ticker going to crash the whole market when they have hundreds of trillions of dollars of assets backing up their mess. Danny, do you want to
Oh yeah, for
opine on
sure.
that
But
a
I
little
mean,
bit more?
Pete from Philly has made the point several times on other space calls that there's like all right, in 2021, when it was January, when it was AMC, GME, BlackBerry, Nokia, and COS, and you could literally watch the algorithm work on those five. What do those five companies have to do with each other?
Right,
Absolutely nothing.
right. Mark,
But you would watch the line go up, and it was, you know, if it wasn't exact, it was pretty damn
No, and
close.
I understand that, Mark, and I've talked to Pedro as well, and I absolutely agree with you that they're war rooming all this kind of stuff. But I think this notion that one stock is going to crash the market, or even five of them, I think that may be a myth that we, as retail investors, have created to not excuse but to account for the extreme measures that they go to. But I'm going to turn it over to Danny to have him opine on that.
all right, so there's different things going on right here because Mark just addressed a lot of different areas, and And to your point, I think number two is mostly plausible where it has to be dealt with. And another aspect of this is the reduced risk on the domestic side. That preparation, all of that work, I believe has been done. If not, it's about to be finalized. And the reason why I believe that is because just before the amendment of 15C211 in 2021, there was a tremendous amount of activity between the Securities Exchange Commission and FINRA to delist and deactivate a bunch of QSIPs in the financial system that happen to do with OTC. There's one. Then the second thing is you see the DTC at this current time now purging um, uh, certificates that are non-transferable. So these processes that are in place, they are ultimately decreasing the risk on the domestic side and increasing the demand to deal with the issue on the foreign side. Therefore, the executive order that deals with foreign investments and anything that's attacking the US via a foreign nature becomes much more valuable and in much more in demand to be utilized, right? So I believe that that is the exit strategy. At some point, it will show itself ultimately. But to your point about the baskets, just to be clear, the word is concentrated, right? So everybody talks about the basket of stocks. Mark is absolutely right when it comes to the trading activity is mirrored, and it's because it's in a concentrated portfolio. And this goes back to like your Alpines and UBSs of the world, right? And moving swaps, and they're managing that risk between funds. And what Savvy's bringing up in regards to the collateral that's required to hold these concentrated portfolios as they're being swapped out over time. They're kicking the can down the road. So, it's a very complex thing in the financial system, but it seems to me that that risk is heading in one direction only, and it's for a government intervention to occur at some point. So I just wanted to make sure that hopefully it clears things up a little bit.
But
Just for
Mark, let me say this to your point. I agree with you. They are going to all stops to control these stocks. No doubt about it. Their fraud is out in the open, and honestly, nothing proves that more than MMTLP. But yeah, I watched Roaring Kitty's video. I was there live. I saw it live. He's got his hands up in there. Hey guys, it ain't me. So, do I think they're ever going to let one of those guys run and seriously run? No, I don't. I think we could see some significant mini runs, but are they ultimately going to run in the manner that retail talks about, opines about, and theorizes about? No. But I don't think it's a crash situation. I think it's an exposure situation. But just my opinion.
And controls.
Costas is next. He's been waiting.
Hey, thanks, guys. Just getting it back to business regarding what Wes said. I pasted Hollywood Henry's latest push for the state AGs. It sounds like we can make some impression with state AGs, getting them involved. And I know there's some other state discussions happening as well, but that is posted, and that's to make it very easy for people to reach out to their local states. And the last, I just want a quick comment on what you guys are talking about. I don't think they're going to make a change until they know how to rig the system to their advantage. Once they know how to rig it to their advantage, then they're going to change the systems over. So
It's already rigged, Costas. It's through the securities agreements, the lending protocols inside the institutional funds. They already know how to do it.
Mean Stalker, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. I was just going to reiterate with the Attorney General issue. I was listening to Wes speak about that. It was just funny hearing that, because this afternoon I was speaking to State Attorney General's office about a ticker that I'm looking at. I'm 18 years of a state special government investigator turned into a journalist, looking at a ticker, putting some cursory stuff together, contacted them, and their appetite is very hungry for this manipulation. It's very hungry to get a hold of this stuff in the states to protect the state, especially what Wes was saying when it comes to if they are invested in these funds and if they have a lot to lose, they're going to be the first ones with a lot of big teeth to go in there. And 18 years of working for the state in a special government position, the state has some very, very sharp teeth.
Yeah, thanks for that. Absolutely. You know, and our community's been working with them from the very beginning, but I think with MMTLP in particular, it's been not only difficult for our community to wrap our brains around it and really, you know, distill down into what was truly done and why. Um, but yeah, we've been in communications with our state AGs, but that is certainly picking up. I will say there is one broker in particular that is grossly over their skis, who also has a tax problem that I can imagine the state AGs are going to be very, very interested in.
Yeah,
So,
the state AGs have a particular way of operating, and they love letting people get way out with a lot of rope, because
yep.
the more rope they get, the harder that they're going to hang themselves. So if you don't see a lot of action right up front, do not let that, you know, get you upset. They do this intentionally. I can tell you from my experience of working around the offices themselves, the more you have, the more you get, the more you start working with other agencies in other states. You need them to continue doing what they're doing, because it is then easier once you pull that rope. It's not, the discussion is, okay, how do we settle this? How do we get this finished? Because there's no escaping it.
Hey, Mean Soccer, I got a question for you. I know that once we reached out to the AGs, they were asking us to submit our complaints, but also they're wanting to look at the consumer protection angle. Is that the same thing with you?
It in a little bit of a way, but the one I'm not going to pump another one over here. I'm just talking about from this instance. Um, this one has to do with deception and fraud in a forum atmosphere, on top of some other things. So there's multi-level layers approaching this. You know, there's going to be a lot of points to it. So consumer protection is on one, fraud's on another. There's going to be uh, the intent that they can drive all these different ones too. It's just that's why they have so many teeth. And I say teeth because each angle that they do is a different angle they're going to take it. So they're going to chew it up in a whole lot of different ways. And when they bite, and that's why I say it so strongly, that when they do, it's like a dog bite. They are not going to let go.
Have you dealt with your state securities division?
Uh, Not in that aspect, because I'm more familiar with the attorney generals and their actions with that. Um, with them working on the other side of it, we'll all work in conjunction with that. But I have not worked directly with them on this.
I just gave you a follow. If you could please follow me back so I could DM you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Class out.
Good.
Mark, you're glitching really bad.
On,
Mark, you're
can you hear me
glitching
now?
really bad. A little bit better.
How about now?
Yes.
All right. State AGs aren't in DC, which means DC lobbyists aren't walking in the state AG's offices with, steak dinners and golf trips and all this other stuff that, congressmen, and I know Anna Trades went down to DC with William, and they walked the halls of Congress. But like Patrick Burns said, it's like you come in and you give your pitch, and then when you leave, you get 10 professional lobbyists that are coming in an hour later, and they're giving the flip side of the coin. That's not by accident. Like they schedule that on purpose, and it's constant. Whereas the state AG is looking out for just their residents in their state only. Like to go back to DC. So and like who said, state AGs will band together. I just finished the mini series Dope Sick on Hulu finally, and that was all about Purdue Pharma and how they rolled out OxyContin, and it took almost 20 years before members of the Sackler family had to like settle and give up their ownership of the company and pay, you know, a $4.5 billion fine before they, you know, they were held accountable. But I mean, the corporation was hit with a huge fine, I think like a decade earlier than that. And the reason why that happened is because a couple of state AGs got together with some of the feds on the state level. It was like Virginia, West Virginia, and Maine. But that's what happened. They all banded together and they all started sharing information. And that got the ball rolling so that they could bring this big case. And it was like, it was huge. But it takes time. And that's the frustrating thing for us. It's like, especially you guys where you're frozen and it's been, you know, a year and coming up on almost 2 years now. It's just like, when's enough's enough? You know, like I want to, you know, settle this and move on with my life. It's just, it's super frustrating for people. And I get it because, you know, I see it all the time.
And I know that we conversed about this not too long ago on Paul T Space. And Pops, I give you a mic if you want to come up here because I know you're dealing with your state securities division and state attorney general from Idaho. But you know, one thing's for sure that most of these states AG's offices they don't want to take it head on, but they're willing to assist, and it's just because of the manpower. They don't want to take something so massive. So if you guys give me a second, I'll let Pops come up to the mic and explain what's going on in Idaho, if he's able to. I don't know if you face that also, meme stalker, but that's what we're going through.
Yeah, I took it one step further just for being, you know, in my profession as long as I had. I prefaced it to the AG. If I prepped an initial report for them to review, would they take it on from there? And that was a whole lot easier for them to jump right on board, given the background and the abilities to provide them with an initial report.
Sorry, go ahead, 100. I know you had your hand up.
The time is 8
No,
o'clock
I'm
p.m.
good. Actually, I was gonna talk about stuff that I'm sure no one wants to hear me talk about, so it's fine.
The Constitution.
Busy. I got to hop off. Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks, Mark. Well, yeah, we're not gonna run it too long here. Anybody else wants to take a mic, please do so. We have open mics.
Take it easy,
Thanks,
everybody.
Mark. Pops,
Okay,
if you're listening in, I sent you a mic. Maybe you want to come up and share your experience with Idaho, or anybody in the community that's reached out to the AG's office. You're more than welcome to take a mic. Other than that, I think we're good, Savvy.
Well, I will say, Busy, that I'm getting some messages that people are freaking out from seeing things that Wes said. So, um, I mean, of course, the thing that really stuck out to me is that DTC and Broadridge refused to cooperate with MMTLP data. But you did also hear Wes say that because MMAT inherited the shorts from Torch, and of course, Torch became MMTLP, there is certainly data to be referenced there. So, yeah, I mean, of course, that's disappointing. We were hoping to get a share count, but I'm not sure what other people heard that they would be freaking out about. So, I want to invite you guys to come up to the mic and share your thoughts and feelings. Of course, we'll talk about it tomorrow in my space, but you know, now's the time while it's fresh in your mind, guys. Please don't be afraid.
Ivan.
Uh,
Ivan is up
yeah.
here. Go ahead, Ivan.
Hey guys, how we doing today?
Good.
All right, I just got out of work, so I'm if you can catch me up to speed, that'd be greatly appreciated.
You go back a couple of sentences. You're
All right,
you're
I
glitching.
just got out of work, so what did West Christian say? Can you catch me up to speed?
Can you guys hear him?
Well, the good news is the space is recorded and it was 1 hour long. It was like 1 hour and 2 minutes long. So it shouldn't be a long. I mean, but we covered so much ground. You know, it would take that much time just to repeat what was said. So
All right, I'll listen to it. Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. Guys, I don't even have my highlights yet. So I've got to go back and listen to it again. So but yeah, I mean if somebody, you know, maybe we can provide some clarity, or maybe there's no clarity to be had, but you know, Wes has a particular perspective, and if there's some misunderstandings and we can clear those up, please grab a mic.
Well, I do. I mean, I heard class action, right? That's with Meta, not MMTLP. Am I correct? I was busy trying to get rid of the bots.
MMTLP or Meta, yes, correct.
Okay, just want to make sure that we put that out there because everybody freaks out when they hear class action. Go ahead, 100, and we go to Tanya.
Yeah, no, I just can you hear me? I don't know if I'm coming out clear.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. One of the things that I found very interesting that Wes brought up was he said specifically that some of the MMTLP share count data was obtained by his clients and not the DTC or brokerage, right? So who are those clients, right? Other than, you know, who you may think is a flamethrower or something like that, but you know, who are those potential clients? That's important to me. I'd be interested to know that. Obviously, it'd be very difficult to know what that is because there are confidentiality agreements and all that stuff, but and possibly a protective order, maybe even in play. But I found that to be very interesting and almost, you know, telling.
All right, so we got some people up here. Let's go with Tanya, Geo, and then Finra.
Hey guys, Junk, thank you so much. That was an amazing space. Well done, well done. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Busy. Very well done, like per usual. One thing that I'm not real good at it, but one thing that caught my eye a long time ago was there's also, it doesn't happen so much in our case, but all the talk is FTDs, 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 and there is equally the same amounts of failures to receive. And it was so awesome to hear Wes mention that because I have many times started to put that down in the chat and then I got involved somewhere else and I never pushed send or whatever. And so at any rate, I thought that was interesting. And then the next thing is that not that I can't do it on my own, and I think I have in a roundabout way been in contact. I ended up with the Secretary of State somehow in our state. Um, so I haven't received a third correspondence back from them. I think I accidentally got there, but I don't know, what do you all think about the Secretary of State and their authority? Um, and then thirdly, I don't know if Hollywood is in here, but I I've tried to send our AG information through Hollywood through fairmarketsnow.org, and I keep getting the wrong AG. So I don't know if he's looked at that yet. Anyways, that's all I've got.
Okay, so can you DM him? Are you able to DM him? That probably.
No, I tried to DM him, so I think I had to just put it out somewhere, and I can't remember now in the Twitterverse where I put it, but he did see it. He said he'll work on it, but it's been a little bit, and I know he's busy. I just wanted to kind of just re-throw it out there because it was a pretty hot topic, I felt, with the space that Junk and you just had. So.
All right, thank you, Tanya. We'll definitely make sure that those bugs are fixed. I know he's great at it. You know, God bless him for everything that he's doing, putting that website together and making it so much easier for the community. But sometimes these websites have bugs and they do need to get fixed. So definitely.
Amen. He is an amazing soul, and appreciate his website every day when I send my letters.
Thank you. Go ahead, Finra, and then we'll go to what happened to who was next. Geo dropped off, so let's go to Finra, and then we'll go to Doku.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I've been glitching under my other name. So this is Geo. I'm not sure what's showing up on your end. I have a question for Junk, and I want to thank her for her time for doing this. This is a lot of effort and time out of your personal life. What was your biggest takeaway that you got from your space for MMAT and MMTLP? What was the one of each thing that was the biggest takeaway for you? And if you answered this question before, I apologize. I've been glitching on my other handle name.
No, you're fine. So I don't know if it's the biggest, because honestly, Gio, I have to go back and listen to it again before tomorrow so that I can hear it. Because when I'm in the middle of it, I don't always hear it because I'm trying to absorb everything, anticipate, think about the next question type of thing. But here's what came to my attention. And I asked him this question very specifically, is have you drafted this complaint? And the reason I asked that is because if Meta did not have any intention of moving forward with a lawsuit, why would they be shelling out thousands of dollars, hundreds, if not maybe even millions of dollars to have Wes draft this complaint? I don't know what his hourly rate is, but I don't want to pay it, especially if I'm not going to ultimately do it.
I
Right?
did hear him say that he's being paid outside of MMAT Corporation.
No, that's actually not what he said. He said that as far as the funding for the lawsuit, that it could, well, kind of he did say it in a little bit, but the funding for the lawsuit is not coming from the sale of the assets, and that it is most likely private. Now, could that be big shareholders? Yes. Could it be a VC firm that specializes in this type of litigation? Yes. But I guarantee you that Wes has been being paid this whole time. So somebody's paying the bill. And but why would a VC or even whale shareholders pay him if they didn't believe it was moving forward? That in itself would almost be fraud. So that's what stuck out to me, Gio, in particular. And then as far as MMTLP, honestly, what stuck out is finally the confirmation that they didn't get the data, but that Wes says to continue to do what we're doing, and to keep pushing. Now, I will say a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, when you hear him talk, he's talking about litigation and he's talking about, this is going to be years and years. He's not saying we're not getting a resolution. We can get a resolution to MMTLP and there can still be litigation. And
Well,
so I just want to clear that up as well.
well, I got the impression with him saying him keeping in contact with Congress, it did nothing for him. He got letters, he got nothing from it, and that he got more action from AGs. So
Correct.
was that sort of us telling us we need to back off of hitting Congress and start
No,
with our
he told us
AGs?
to keep. No, he told us to keep going with Congress. I mean, did I hear something that wasn't said? I heard him say to keep going forward with what we're doing. And I will tell you, even if he were to tell us to back off, we wouldn't, because we know what's going on more directly than he does. And there are some major things happening. And so we're not going to back off. But no, I don't think that was his instruction. But that he has encouraged us from the AG route. Now, you guys have to remember, Wes does not work for Nextbridge. And so I did like that he said that everybody seemed to be cooperating. But Wes, this is a Nextbridge problem. And so West does not work for Nextbridge. So I think if you consider that lens, it's possible his comments were all about Meta and not so much Nextbridge, unless he specifically mentioned Nextbridge. But again, like I said, Gio, I just have to go back and listen and make sure, and I'll take some notes for tomorrow.
Is it already been posted? The space call? Or? Okay.
Yeah,
great.
it goes up as soon as the space is over. It goes up. And you guys feel free, go clip it, post your clips. If I'm incorrect, go ahead and clip it and post it. But yeah, like I said, I have trouble, when I'm in the middle of it. I always, if I need to go back, I have to go back. So
Yeah, just to clarify, West did say that he himself is done with Congress because he's just got letters, and what are our letters doing? So no, he didn't discourage us for us contacting Congress, but him himself he's done pretty much with Congress, and he's dealing with possibly the AGs.
Yeah, he also mentioned that we have a shareholder that's providing him with some information, and I've already told you guys, you didn't guess, that I also provided some information. And so there's certainly communications going on. And though Wes is not taking any direct action regarding MMTLP, doesn't mean he might not in the future. But also to clarify, he was not mentioning class action in terms of MMTLP. He was talking about class action in terms of Meta. And the reason he was is he believes that's the way to get the shareholders relief. So
Yeah, let's talk about that, Sav, because I don't think he was aware that the fidelity stuff that was taking place, and he almost fell out of his chair. Yeah, well, you know what I'm saying.
yes, I know what you're saying, Busy. Stop.
I mean, he literally fell out of his chair. I mean, he was like,
I know.
I never seen
Okay,
him like
guys, cat's out of the bag. I told you guys I wrote a brief for a securities attorney. It's Wes. Yes, he was stunned when I told him about the fidelity situation. We'll just leave it there. And he is definitely interested in collecting information. So
my bad. Go ahead, Doku.
stinker, busy.
Doku.
Hey, can you
Yes,
guys
sir.
hear me? All right, so I'm not fully caught up on what you guys are talking about, but to be honest, I'm going to be a broken record here. I'm just going to say this. FINRA has already admitted that there's an overage in MMTLP. Once MMAT merged with TRCH and MMTLP became a thing, those two companies, whether you like it or not, are conjoined at the hip. What affects one is going to affect the other until the situation is resolved. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't care if you like it. I don't care if you love it. Doesn't matter. Until this situation gets resolved, it is going to be a cloud hanging over everybody's head. End of story. So FINRA has already admitted there's an overage. We already know there's a U3 halt put in place. FINRA and the SEC refuse to cooperate with Congress. They will not tell us why the U3 halt was put in place. They will not provide us with a share count. They will not do anything that would result in a resolution for this. And the reason is something is amiss. Something is wrong. Something doesn't add up. That's why we're halted. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out. It's not that difficult to connect those dots. Until we force something that gets us at a bare minimum, an explanation as to why the U3 halt was put in place, this can is going to be kicked down the road for as long as they can possibly kick it down the road. I am not willing to wait 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. I will take whatever avenue, whatever path, whoever I have to put pressure on in order to get resolution for this so I can move on, because at the end of the day, I am not the one who accepted unlimited risk. I invested in something knowing what my risk was. The other side of the coin, the other parties, they knew what their risk was. You don't get off the fucking hook, bro. I'm sorry. If you think you can just arbitrarily change the rules at the 11th hour because you don't want to pay out what you have to owe other people, I'm sorry, no, that's not the way a free market works. That's fraud. I don't care who I have to go to. If it's a state AG, if it's Congress, if it's a RICO case, doesn't matter to me at this point in time. I don't care. I am tired of this. I am fed up with it. This needs to be resolved. End of story. If it does not get resolved, then I can tell you this much. All confidence in the market is going to be destroyed. It doesn't matter if it gets eroded over a long period of time. It doesn't matter if it falls off a cliff tomorrow. One way or another, people are going to look at the market as a fraudulent casino where the only outcome is you getting screwed. That's not how a market works. That's how you destroy economies. This needs to be fixed. This needs to be resolved, and it needs to be resolved yesterday. End of story. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It is not an argument. It is a matter of time. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And anybody who disagrees with me, you're entitled to your opinion, even if it's wrong. Have a nice day. Cheers.
I hope you burn your carrots.
Double cheers for that one.
Go ahead, number two. Anyways.
It sounded to me like I'm sorry, I haven't been in your space. I couldn't listen. I'm sorry, I was in a place I couldn't listen to you, so I don't know what's going on. But it sounded to me like AGs when I heard that. I mean, I just like somebody was just saying a second ago about the Congress. I'm not saying stop, but I'm saying it sounds like, and I think we were on the path, have been on this path with Texas, et cetera. The AGs are the way to go, especially if you can get a bunch together. You know, it's kind of like what's going on right now. They're suing Pfizer, 5 states, right? So they're all getting together because it's costly, right? And not every state can afford to do these things, right? Bigger states, smaller states, bigger states can, you know, smaller states can come in on top of that, you know, and aid and provide some funding that's, you know, lesser amount. But I'm sounds to me like from what he said that AGs is where, and I, you know, we know this when you listen to it's AGs, attorneys general, attorneys general. You'll see this stuff happening, and I'm that's when he said that, you know, it was just kind of in my mind, it seems like that's really, I don't know what's going on. Truthfully, you know, I know there's things going on that we don't know about, but I'm just saying is, what is your take on that after that space?
I mean, I've been saying this for a while already. You know, I've been able to garner a relationship with the Texas Attorney General's office for months, right? Even before that, I was trying to reach out to them. Like, it took me about 6 months. One because he was going through the impeachment hearing. So once that was done, I got back on the horse and tried to reach out to that office, which I was successful via DMs out of all places, right? Um, it is important. It is important that we don't pivot, right? Because I always tell the community this: we're not pivoting. It's just another avenue for us to try to, you know, get the attention that we need from the state's attorney generals. And the community has been great, right? We're not stopping, you know, any other community members to reach out to Congress. And I don't want everybody to think, oh, so we gave up on Congress. No, that's not what we're doing. Some of the community members here, including myself, we've been reaching out to different state attorney general's office, and including, you know, K Camp. You have Louisiana on board that's trying to work to try to get that state AG on board. I know Swing, we got to talk. I promise you today we'll get on the phone. But then you have Michigan, right? You got Rob and you got Glass Guy, and you got Idaho with yourself and Pops and Jen Capella, and I could just imagine who else is working in Idaho. Then you have Florida. I mean, what can I say? Florida. You got Jonna, you got Dr. E, as always. You have Syntax, and you have Marcos. They're working in Florida to try to get the attention of state attorney generals. And there's many others, right? I know that JT was trying to work on his. And I know that Matt Notoriety, he's also working some AGs. So we're just taking a different route, but still keeping in contact with Congress, and that's good for the community because we don't have to start from the very beginning. This has been going on for months already. Some of us have just been quiet about it, going out with our own business, you know, trying to get, you know, some attention on the AG side, but now it's coming to fruition. And I wish Pops would come up here because
Yeah, and I know that's been going on for well, it's been months. I mean, well, it's been this year, right? So where you've actually been able to make some strides in that effort with the AGs.
and there's
So
many others other than the community. I get DMs all the time. So kudos to everyone. One person cannot do it all. It has to be a group effort, and that's why I love this community. Everybody, you know, what's the task? Okay, AGs, let's go. So you know, I believe Paul T is doing the same thing. Not Paul T from our community, and many others. I mean, Anna, she's doing the same. I know Savvy and 100. 100's been helping me out with the Texas AG. So it's just a
Ollie and
group effort.
Pops have been talking to the Idaho AG for
Uh,
18 months.
for 18 months. Holy
Yeah,
shit. Man,
they started in January, I believe.
Paul T danced right on over to that AG office.
go ahead, William. And I'll go back to you, Doku. Let's give William.
Hey, um, well, I've been writing down some things. So what triggered me to finally put up my hand was I guess Barron was speaking. And I don't know how many of you are as old as I am, but when I first got in the business, I was trained by Merrill Lynch, and one of the, I had to make not 100 phone calls. I had to make 100 contacts a day. And I learned very quickly that a whole generation, and probably 2 generations, but at least a whole generation, had completely lost touch with the stock market. They had no interest. And so I wanted to say that. That's the risk Wall Street takes. I don't think they care. I think this is a lot of plunderers taking their last handfuls and bucket loads out before it collapses. But I guess I also want to say that I understand that frustration. Let's get it done. We got to do it. I don't have 5 years, all of that. We've all felt that from the start. And it is completely overwhelming when you start thinking of the pressures. You can think about one's self, but everybody in the community, what's been lost and the pain. But, I think Wes pointed out that each of his cases he estimates are an eighth, they're $12.5 million, and they take time. They work, but they take time, and there's going to be hard costs, and there's roadblocks. That I think he said that the regulators are on the side of the bad guys in one of his cases. So I think getting worked up is good and fighting is great. We're going to win, but it is going to take time. It is going to take money. It is going to be a winding, long road. So, and then, he talked about the damage model, and he talked about shareholders' damage models being different maybe than the company. So that brings up the whole thing about how do you define what was lost and what is deserved. And those are legal battles that are beyond the ability of most of us to handle. So when anyone talks about a resolution, they say there's a resolution. A resolution, what does it mean? And that's the problem. So I'll finish up with 2 things. One is, I think each of us can control our own resolution by moving MMTLP to NextBridge. I know that's controversial for some reason, but I think there's a chance of a payout there more quickly than the legal or congressional route. But I don't know. I could be wrong. The other thing, directly to Busy and to Junk and any of you talking with Congress, AG Edwards, Attorney General, AG Edwards, is the host is having connection issues, is trillions of dollars. Wes brought up trillions of dollars. This is a tax issue too. So I think lead with the tax issue. Sorry, I went on so long, and Barron motivated me to get on because he's absolutely right. We could lose a generation at least of participation in the market. Cheers.
Yeah, I reconnected, guys. I don't know why this space is glitching, but go ahead, Doku.
Well, and yeah, no, I agree with William. I wanted to touch on something he said before I move on to the point I wanted to make. In regards to damages, the easiest example I could bring up is if I had access to the cash, even at the lowest point when the U3 halt was put in place, $2.90, $2.91, whatever it was. If I had access to that, what would my investment in SPY look like at the time then versus now? That's my baseline bare minimum of damages done.
Before you go,
obviously that doesn't take into account. Sorry, go ahead.
Before you go on, because I'll forget it if you do. From the beginning, Ham always recommended keep a notebook and put in your trades you would have done. And if they all win, they all win. Write them down, because then that becomes a claim in court. Hey, this is what I would have done with my money. Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh no, you're fine. And no, I agree with you on that one. You definitely should. I've been managing a family trust over the course of time that this has been going on, and I can tell you exactly when they bought SPY under my recommendation and what it is now. They bought at 380. Anybody can go ahead and look at what SPY is right now. That is my baseline for damages. Obviously, that doesn't take into account people having to go into debt, lost savings, loss of life. Those things you can't put a monetary value on. But at a minimum, I can look at SPY, and that is my baseline. That doesn't even include options I would have sold or bought against it or anything like that. Just purely buying SPY, putting it in a Roth, and forgetting about it. That's my baseline for damages. The second point I wanted to bring up, and this goes back to avenues of attack. Until I start seeing congressional candidates or even local politicians, until I start seeing them talking about this, the lack of enforcement in regards to failure to delivers, assets trading on OTC markets or overseas markets that should never have been trading to begin with in the first place, the watchmen watching themselves, regulators or regulatory bodies, self-regulatory bodies regulating themselves and clearly violating the rules. Until I start seeing that become a campaign talking point on the campaign trail, I want to encourage every single person listening to this right now. You need to contact every single person who is running for office, local, state, federal, congressional, doesn't matter. Make a campaign talking point. They need to be talking about this. It needs to be a frontline issue. Keep talking to them. Keep contacting people. Let them know, hey, this isn't right. What's happening right now is a threat to the market as a whole. Even if you don't think it affects you, if you have a 401k, if you have a Roth, if you have any investment vehicle at all, and it's not physical gold or silver or something like that, this affects you, whether you realize it or not. This needs to be a major talking point for every single politician, Republican, Democrat, Independent, Green Party, Libertarian, doesn't matter, don't care. People need to be talking about this. Make it a household issue, because it is. It cannot be ignored. Continue to apply pressure. And if you're not applying pressure right now, I highly encourage you. Reach out, find a template, write your own email. I don't care how you do it. Make it something that is not ignorable. Make it something that cannot be swept under the rug. The second that we allow this to get swept under the rug is the second we lose. Twitter has been X, formerly Twitter, has been an amazing asset, but not everybody is on X. Not everybody's on Twitter. Most people, quote, quote, normies, they're too busy sitting on their ass, eating McDonald's, watching a football game, or watching fucking Seinfeld reruns. You have to get their attention as well. Get them up in arms. When congressional candidates realize this is something that affects everyone, they will address it, because the primary thing they're concerned about is getting elected. Make this an election issue. You'll see things get resolved really quick.
Let's go to Nelson.
That's what I got for you.
Thanks, Doku. Stand by. Nelson, and then who else was up here? Then they dropped. Go ahead, Nelson.
Hi, Busy. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Nice. Thank you for the space. Um, Wes Christian said, um, SEC and FINRA basically they're working with the bad guys and they're working against him because he requests some document and then they refuse to give him, like basically they're all fighting not to give Wes Christian the document. So then I was thinking, you've been working on AGs. I don't know how many states, but I was thinking maybe if we delegate 3, 4 people plus 40, and So basically, people can go with him into every single AG in every single state and to provide them all the document where FINRA said they sell more than the, the the number of the company issues, right? So they sell about 2.6 million. So just that's the proof of there's something wrong. So why I mean I think if we provide those documents to the AG plus a lot of proof of there's a collusion between FINRA and SEC, what basically we get from Kurdish, I think it's going to be enough for them to go after those bad guys right now with FINRA and SEC to know they have to resolve the situation as soon as possible. And instead, we keep on. I mean, everything we've been doing very, very good. We've been doing excellent job with all the lawmakers. But I think if you delegate those people, we said we want this to be resolved as soon as possible. I think it's going to happen. It's going to happen because they're not afraid of those people um, in DC because they provide those people in DC money for them to do whatever they want to do, and those people they barely gonna do what we request. But with the AG, there's not going to be slowed down or they're not going to be able to ignore all this proof of wrongdoing with those bad guys with SEC and FINRA. They're gonna go straight. They're gonna work on those as soon as possible, and we all gonna get paid. Yeah, thank you for the mic. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, no problem. And just to remind everyone, listen, you know, the Texas AG's office has met with Nextbridge more than once. I myself been on several Zoom calls of those meetings. Um, I've been upfront. If I don't have any documentation that, you know, the stuff that I share with them was in the very beginning to try to help them understand what we're going through here. After that, it's out of my hands. Do I still have engagement with that office? Absolutely. One, because somebody stepped away and got appointed as a judge via the governor of Texas, but I was still able to keep that contact with that office via that judge that's now a judge. So I still have contact with that office. Uh, Actually, today they emailed me. I sent some documentation, but it's not only me, guys. It's the people of this community that, you have the Matts, you have the Curtis, you have the Jens, you got the Savvies, you have the 100s, you have the company, right? If they need those documents and I don't have them, I say go contact the company. Here you go. So it's just teamwork that happens in the background. So, you know, that's exactly what's happening with other states that either we could put up a Zoom call, but what I'm trying to say, it takes time, right? But we didn't wait till now to make those contacts. Like Savvy said, that Idaho's been in contact for over 18 months. Well, I've been in contact with that office, and we went through the whole entire process of getting together with Zoom calls and explaining it, and having different community members on the Zoom calls, and going back and forth. That process is done. They have all the documentations that they need, and if they need more documentation, it's up to the company and them to get together and share those documents. So we're not starting right now to try to contact AGs. That's been laid out over months by different community members. It's just now starting to gain some tractions, and hopefully it comes to fruition. I don't know where it's going to end up, but I'm sure going to keep on trying. I'm going to keep on making those connections with other states and trying to help other community members. Let's go. Let's get it going. What do you got? Okay, try to set up a Zoom call. Let's go. Let's what kind of documentation you need? Okay, all right. Who can I get in there? That's the way we work. So just be happy that there was some community members that didn't wait till now to start trying to contact these AG's offices. That's the it's been laid out over months, And I'm happy that we were able to do that, because now we don't have to start from scratch and say, oh my God, Wes said contact the AGs. Now we got to start campaigning to contact AGs. No, right now it's taking traction. I'm right now having a conversation with one of the community members, and he's, hyped up, and he's like, look, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. So that's what you need to do. Just get on the ball, get on the phone, send that email, use the Hollywood Henry's website. And as soon as you make contact, get with the group that you get along with, and just how we did with Congress, set it up, keep it going, don't give up. That's what they want us to do. They want us to go away and give up. I'm not. I know a lot of these community members that I see on here, they're not. We're consistently talking on the phone. I think I'll have to change my phone number after this, though. Anyways, guys, let's continue on with the conversation with Nelson. Yes, those conversations are being had, and I'm happy that, again, NextBridge is a Texas company, and this is why I was honed in with it. And it really wasn't all me. It was another community member that never takes the mic, that he had. It was somebody that he knew, right, that was good friends with that AG's office. And then they reached out, tagged me in an email, but he was going through that impeachment hearing, so we laid off. And it was not after I seen that he, won that impeachment hearing, that I reached out, and those conversations, started happening again. So it's just teamwork. You don't know who you know, right? That person could know somebody, and you guys could, use that chain of command. Hey, can you reach out to this person? Sure, let's do it. So one person cannot do it all. So I'm trying to say. Sorry, guys. Rob, I'm gonna get you up here. Who was next? Nelson. You were you done, Nelson? It's so hot over here in California. It's ridiculous.
Hey, busy.
Okay, Rob, you're next.
Yeah. Hey, first of all, thanks for getting that space going with Wes, and thank you, Junk, as well. So with all, so I sent you I sent you a DM, I think it was last week, and it had to do with my attorney general in Colorado. So wouldn't all attorney generals kind of be on the same? Don't they have the same jurisdiction as far as taking care of fraudulent things that are happening in the state? Does that make sense?
Go ahead, Savvy. But
No, I was just going to toss it to Danny because he's always talking about states' rights and things like that. But I know if a company's domiciled in your state, states have different rules, but they certainly would have some issues there. Danny, did you want to opine on that?
Yeah. So again, 2016 Supreme Court case, especially on Red Show, right, gives jurisdiction to the state. So each state, in accordance to its own constitution, has jurisdiction over its own fraud claims based on what is approved by the state legislature.
Okay. Now let me read you this real short paragraph on what they sent me. They said, regretfully, we cannot move forward with a criminal investigation of this matter. The securities fraud team has limited jurisdiction to investigate and prosecute crimes involving securities fraud in the state of Colorado.
Well, go fuck yourself, Colorado.
Well, that's right. No, I've sent them back a message saying, well, we're in a fraud-friendly state, and I've sent that to our own governor and also to my senators. We're in a fraud-friendly state. That just the title itself, Attorney General, it has attorney in it. You're telling me that I'm a constituent and I'm a victim of fraud, and you're telling me that you can't touch it, and you're the AG. So, I'm over here, I'm listening to all this talk, even from West, about, oh yeah, the AGs have all this power, but then in Colorado, they don't give a shit about it.
Let me tell you why, Rob. This is why it's really important that everybody uses the Hollywood Henry's website.
I already did.
They want to see complaints. So the more the complaints, they're going to see, okay, this is an issue. You see where I'm going with this?
Oh no, I understand. And I did that. I've been on Hollywood Henry's since we started. I mean, I go there quite often, and and I just did the one for the AG, but I know that it's not going to go anywhere because, I mean, hopefully everyone in Colorado will do that, and in our state group, and but I still don't think that if they don't have the jurisdiction, they don't have the jurisdiction.
No, I think Rob. I think the situation is this. It's not that he doesn't have the jurisdiction. He's got the jurisdiction to do it, and if it is a conflict that needs to be addressed, then what's the securities division of the state governance that's in that state, right? And then on top of that, if the state AG is choosing not to do it, then it's the responsibility of its own citizens in that state, its registered citizens, to vote out that AG and replace somebody who will do the job. It's just that simple.
No, I agree. I agree. Definitely. I just wanted to add that 2 cents because in my case, it's I'm gonna keep on pushing. I'm just gonna sleep on it and then figure out the next strategy. And I'm pretty tenacious when it comes to this stuff, and I know we come from a very tenacious community, so I'm going to keep on finding different angles and kind of get under their skin.
And Rob, just to be clear, like I'm very passionate about the matter, right? And I'm not trying to come at you in a harsh way. To me, I think what Wes said today was very important. There's a lot of things he said is very important, but this one really, stuck out to me. It's like, you really have to consider the fact that if you're not supporting this fight, you're a traitor. It's just that simple. You are committing treason. That's what you're doing, especially if you're in a public office.
Well, then I'll say this, and hopefully I don't offend anybody. That means our entire Congress is committing treason.
Yes, most of it is.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And I'll say one more thing. The common denominator for all the problems we have is Congress. It's in their own backyard. They haven't taken care of it for years. I can guarantee you there have been so many people that are trying to alert them of this over the last 10, 12, 15, 30 years. They don't give a shit, and I'm really upset with Congress right now, but as you can probably tell, but the common denominator of the problems that we're in is Congress, and we're going to Congress to help us. So it's kind of an interesting dilemma, but I understand our situation, so I'll just keep it there.
Yeah, Rob, I would say check out your consumer protection laws. God.
Yeah, I can do that too.
All right, guys. Costas, I'm gonna put you up. Costas, go ahead, Costas.
To send to you if we can help each other out here.
Thank you, Costas.
Sure will. Yeah, I will. Thank you.
You're the man, Costas. I seen that. Beautiful. All right, Sav. What's next? That's it?
Is Rob still there?
Yeah.
Hey, Rob, I went on your profile and it says join February 2023, 0 following, 1 follower.
Well, I just got as we were talking, says my account has been suspended, or let's see here.
So you've been attacked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Rob's been here the whole time.
I find it interesting that weren't you getting attacked by a bunch of individuals at the same time as you're experiencing technical issues and account issues?
Well, I had 300 followers. Okay, I just followed Costas. Let me go see what I'm.
You just click on where it says 0 followers.
Yeah.
Click on it and you'll see.
And now it says I have 1. Wow, what the fuck?
Yeah, so you're being targeted, and I'm not going to get into this right now, but I think you know what I'm talking about.
No, I understand. Okay, well, whatever.
Yeah, but in that space with Wes, there was a swarm of bots that were trying to report us for the space. I deleted them all and blocked them all and reported them all. But yeah, it was the same thing over and over again. So we were getting attacked. So That goes to show you,
Man,
you know, they don't like us talking about these kind of things on the spaces. So
yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Okay. Well, I
Yeah,
guess.
especially foreign people, right? Foreign individuals that were attacking you not even 24 hours ago, talking crap, and now all of a sudden you got account issues.
Yeah.
Go
Well,
go
yeah.
ahead.
Go ahead.
Paul. I'm sorry, Rob. Were you done?
No, no, I'm done. I'm done. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Go ahead, Paul T.
Hey, good evening, Busy Junk. Great space on West Christian, by the way. Fantastic job. I know that you spent a lot of time, the both of you, preparing for this. So it was a great space. So Busy, I got a question for you since you've been on fairmarketsnow.org. I'm trying to send an AG letter. I can't find it anywhere. It's nowhere on the site. They have, the Senate, the congressional, you can even send things to to the media, but there's nothing on AGs, nothing. Have you been on there? I don't know if you looked or I don't know.
Yeah, but I think that he's fixing the bugs as we speak.
Oh, that's why I couldn't find. Like, I want to send it and I can't. I want to send instructions. I want to like do a step by step on exactly how people can do it. I want to send a post out. So I'm just trying to encourage as many people as possible to contact their state AG's office because it's going to be really easy, with this site. So there's no reason why anybody can't spend 3 minutes to do it.
Yeah, we got Jonna, and then Costas. You could come up see when it's not gonna be available, or Jonna. Go ahead.
Okay, it is on the site when you go under the MMTLP letter campaign, right above your senator's letters. It's right above that. It says your state AG. It's not as clearly written out, but you can see it. And then you just press to send that letter. So it's right above it.
Is that the same web page that's has the complaint forms?
No, yes. So if you go into start your campaign for letter writing for MMTLP,
There's not exactly a tab for that. I'm looking. Complaint forms is I chose that with the that 3 bars on the upper right in that white box. So the
it's
complaint forms come up. I don't see anything anywhere. I'm
all
scrolling.
right. So do me a favor. Go click on home at the top of the page.
Done.
Go to the main page, go down where you see, it'll say the first box is MMTLP
FINRA fraud. Yeah, I clicked.
GMA. Okay, click on that.
I did that. Yeah, now I'm back to that page.
Scroll up. Okay, scroll up. You're going to
Mhm.
see start the letter writing campaign.
I don't see that.
Scroll, keep scrolling.
Scrolling down, you mean? Okay.
Yeah.
Action. Yeah, state senator and representatives and state AGs. I see that, but there's
So click on that to send the letters.
there's nothing to click on.
You got to fill out your information first, Paul.
Then it says start writing.
Start writing. Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was going to be a form you just fill out. I didn't think it was going to be something you had to actually write a whole story about.
Hey,
You're
I
not
just did
writing.
it.
You're
I
not
just,
writing a story.
I just did it, and so hey, it's Laura.
It gives you a
I
template.
just Hey, I just did it, and it says to join the fight for the MMTLP fiasco, and you fill out everything for your governor, for your representatives in the Senate and the Congress. And after I sent that letter campaign, it then asked me, do I want to send a letter to the AG? It happened after I sent the 4th letter campaign to all the previous recipients. Like I said, it happened afterward for me when I did it, and I'm in
Then
North Carolina.
he might have changed it today because it was before. So I've been knocked offline today completely. So I have not done my letters today.
And there's
I just
bugs
figured
in
I'd
there.
share it because I just did it. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's bugs there because I'm getting right to Attorney General Chris Hayes or Mays, which is not my AG. So it's a work in process. I know that Costas just shared some information with me. They're working on it, guys.
It's actually, yeah, when I fill out the information and I click that, write letter, it is writing to the Attorney General. So that does work. Thank you.
Hey, while I'm up here, I guess I'll just make the statement. I just listened to the recording with Wes, and I really appreciate it. It was a great space. Thanks, Junk. Thanks, Busy. Um, Sounds like it's going to be a long haul. Sounds like it's huge. I think we knew all this. And it sounds like that we have more enemies than we thought we had. Like there's, resistance at every turn. Like each defendant has 45 lawyers, or each case has 45 lawyers
Yeah,
opposing.
he had 3 cases, 45 lawyers total. So, yeah, but you're right, Laura. I mean, who knew that, DTC and Broadridge were working against us? We know the SEC and FINRA are. But yeah, absolutely. But I do think, and I'm going to have to listen, Laura. And by the way, nice to have you.
Yeah.
Haven't talked to you in a long time. So,
Yeah.
but guys, I'm going to listen to it again and break it down for our space in the morning. But I think because he was vacillating back and forth so much between MMAT, MMTLP, and the greater market issues, we may be confusing his response to some of those. When he talked about this is going to take years, I understood him to be talking about the greater market changes that need to be happening. And so I would encourage everyone, it's an hour long space. Go back and re-listen and take some notes for yourselves as well. Maybe a first blush is not enough. I know I'm certainly going to do that, Laura. So
Yeah. I just listened to it. I found it hard to listen to this space before I actually listened to the West Christian. And I've kind of laid off X because I have dwindled to the point where I'm just want to cuss everybody out on X, and that's just not, that's not a good spiritual healthiness for me. So I've kind of
well,
stepped
you
back
missed it, Laura. Friday I did a little bit of that.
oh God.
You missed it though, but it's recorded. We had a show come in and I had to set him a little straight, but yeah, so no, I'm glad you're taking care of yourself. We all need to do that. But I will also say that Wes is not up to speed on everything that we're doing and everything we've done. And so, he works for Meta. He does not work for NextBridge. Though he did say that from his
Cooperating.
perspective, cooperating.
Yeah.
But I know that there's some interesting things going on with our work in Congress. So I'm certainly not giving up. He did not tell us to give up. Quite the opposite. He told us to
Exactly.
continue. And we've been working with the AGs for quite a while, and we're going to continue to put pressure there. It's not a pivot. Our focus is Congress right now. We still need people to make their phone calls, write their letters. The ask has absolutely not changed, but when you have a little extra energy that you need to expend, AGs, consumer protection and securities divisions, could use a little attention. So
Yeah. Can someone describe the nuclear reactor of Curtis? Can someone describe what's coming out of the reactor, please?
well, hopefully he'll be on the space tomorrow morning. But no, he's of course still working, dealing with the aftermath of his disclosure of the UPC committee, and it is definitely has traction and is absolutely providing pressure. So he is very inundated with that work.
What is a UPS committee?
It's
UPS.
the UPC. It's a Uniform Practice Code Advisory Committee. That is the committee that made the decision to not only break their Rule 6490 in constructing a corporate action with potentially a settlement issue, but in the issuing decision to issue the U3 alt. And so we now know who ordered the code red, Laura. And when you
Wow.
look at the list, there are 2 FINRA advisors. One of them is extremely familiar to us.
Hmm.
She happened to appear in one of the FOIA emails, Patty
Mm.
Casa. The other gentleman, I believe, was on the FIFA commission discussing MMTLP and the spin out, I believe. I'm not certain about that one. But Laura, of the 8 representatives that represent market participants, every single one of them represents a firm that is holding liabilities in MMTLP. Some of them are holding them at multiple levels, including through their third party clearing services, financial service, talking to you, Schwab. just in case they're listening. So every single one of them has
Oh,
a conflict of interest. And so the notion that how can you see it honestly any other way? These people constructed, according to evidence that is presented from Meta, Laura, and it's in the Next Bridge PR. These are the people that constructed the corporate action that had a settlement issue in it, that they then use that very settlement issue to order the U3 halt. How is that not premeditation? How is that not
mm,
a conspiracy? And if you think that they didn't run back to their firms that they represent and run back to their partners, their lending partners,
mm.
you think they didn't run back to their major clients that are holding open short liabilities and said, hey, we're going to halt this thing. You're
Wow.
crazy.
That's thus the selling pattern on the final day that they thought.
Correct.
Ah, wow.
So that was his bomb drop. It was actually brought to him by a member of the community who, quite frankly, didn't know exactly what they had.
Huh.
The UPC committee was mentioned in a recording, and he went and looked it up and found who was on it and sent it to Curtis, and Curtis had a oh shit moment.
Wow.
And
That's fantastic. Thank you for the catch up. I hope
yeah,
we're not boring everybody, that everybody else is on board with that, or I mean, up to speed with that. But I just haven't been, I just haven't been around. I've had to, take care of Laura. But wow,
well, and
great
you
news.
and I love the energy in your voice. I can tell that you're doing so much better. So I'm glad
Yeah,
that you took time for yourself. And you know what, Laura, we've been here fighting the whole time, and we're going to continue to do that. So you know where to find us.
absolutely. I check in as often as I can, and as much as doesn't make me sick. So I do battle with PTSD, and that has the cousin is suicide, and I'm not suicidal, but I can go there. So, I just have to regulate. So, anyway, really great catching up and hearing your voice too. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Busy. I'll hopefully be able to attend the veteran space. Is that July the 1st?
The time
Yes,
is
ma'am. July
9
the 1st, 6
o'clock
p.m. Eastern
p.m.
Time.
Well, that sounds wonderful. I will try to attend. Definitely. Okay. Well, I'll share the space now. Thank you.
And I need a co-host for that space. So, any veterans out there willing to throw their name in the hat, let me know.
I would love to see Ponzi back on the mic.
Ponzi?
Yeah.
Ponzi yet.
Haven't heard from him in a long while.
Iron, Ponzi, somebody. Finn. There's a whole bunch in the background in that group that we have. Go ahead, 100.
I think number 2 was first.
Rick.
No, you were, but I just had a quick one about and I just lost the post. I saw somebody had posted it. It's about that surety bond, working the surety bond to get cooperation. In a not in a nothing threatening, but I was just reading that thread. Can't remember the guy's name. I was just looking for it. It wasn't Jay. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Did Michael talk about it?
I just saw it in a group, a post with this guy
Oh,
talking about. Hang on one second, and I'll tell you. All I got to do is go back to where I. Hang on one second. Right when I get the mic.
Rick, was that what William brought up?
Nope.
Oh,
Hang on one second. I can get to my. Okay, there we go. Okay. The guy Ryan 353-81162. We're talking about utilizing a surety bond when it comes like attorney generals and such, that they have this bond they post, and you're basically placing a lien against that bond, and they don't like that, and that you can get them to move by going through this process. I don't know if you're familiar with that, or anybody has heard this, because I was just reading it. It says, remember, you aren't powerless, and elected officials work for you. They don't educate you, but basically, I'm looking for the write a letter to the public official demanding a certified copy of their surety bond. Every public official is required to provide this information by law. Also request a copy of the oath of office. Write a letter to the public official of intent to file against the surety bond. State in this letter harm to you and the / community, documented fraud, what needs to be done to rectify the situation, your timeline for rectification. If no action, then you can write a claim against the public official's surety bond. So it's a thread I had started to like and
Can you send that to me? Can you please
yeah,
send that to me?
yep. So I found that quite interesting. I thought, well, hey, there's some. So let me, let me do that real quick. 100. I'll go off the mic. You can. I'll work on that.
Thank you so much.
And real quick, let me read this. I shared how to enforce a public official to do their duty through a bond. But this comment is far more important. It's the why, the legality / law behind the process found here, and it's under the law.cornell.edu. It's all under commercial law, uniform commercial code, commerce, commercial, and contract and trust law. So I'll just let me share that to you real quick, and like I said, I'll go off real quick.
Okay, so who's next? I'm sorry, I was answering back DMs.
Yeah, that would
Okay,
be
go
me.
ahead, and then Paul T after.
Yeah. So, thanks again, number 2, for bringing it up. Definitely want to review it. I kind of just wanted to address what, Laura had hinted to, and how you deal with your challenges, right? And one of the things that I've learned that Busy always talks about is you work harder, right? You just work hard, you work through things to keep the ball moving forward. And one thing that another thing that I've learned about just that mentality and how to address a challenge is the level of commitment and understanding where your will takes you. And we've gotten very, very far because of this mentality that Busy consistently, has set forth. So, with that being said, I'm going to head out, but I also wanted to express how grateful I am just to be a part of your own internal processes and how you move that ball forward. And today's space call, as little as it was, Savvy, with you, allowing me to see the masterful line of questions that you put up. I just appreciate that time being a part of that activity. So thank you so much for everything that you do, and love you guys. Ciao.
And thank you so much to you. Yeah, 100 went over the questions with me, and we kind of prioritized what needed to be asked and what maybe didn't, because we knew we'd be short on time. But, Danny, thank you so much, because everything that we do, you're right there alongside of us, supporting us, and we try to do the same for everything that you do. Don't always understand it, but we still try. So really appreciate you as well.
Yeah, I just make the call and they say yes, so it makes my job easy. Go ahead, Paul T.
Hey, Busy. Going back to that AG's letter again, I'm on that. I personalized it just a little bit. There's no like ending like sincerely whatever. Does that photo populate or you don't know?
Okay, what was the question again? I'm sorry, I wasn't paying
Well,
attention.
at the end of a letter you have regards, sincerely yours, whatever. There's none of that. It's just the letter just ends, without a
Yeah,
closing.
you could edit it. Yeah,
Okay, all right. I'm gonna edit. All right, because I was secretarial in my
but
teenage
just make
years.
sure
Yep.
that you have the correct AG, because mine's still showing the wrong AG.
I'm gonna double check it. It does come up as I don't know who this
It was
person.
right in the
Never
middle. Above.
heard of her before, but I'm gonna double check it to be sure it is right. I'm
So,
sure it is, but I'm gonna check it anyway. All right, that's the only question I had. Thanks.
and there's gonna be other templates. That's what Costas is working on.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's I know it's I saw a lot of the work that he put in that website. I can't imagine how many hours he spent on this. This is a lot of work. I know it is. It's a lot of work. So
Well, not only that, you guys, you can always, and I've done this with the congressional letters. I actually just highlight the information. I cut and paste it and put it in my own Word document, and I mail it directly from my email as well. And so, if you want to edit it that way, you can always send it out yourself. I mean, it's nice to do it through the system because then, there's a way of tallying it and he's keeping track. But I actually edit in my own system and send them out. So.
But I am gonna tell him to put a tab all the way to the front or on top of the page because it is. I see what the community is saying. It's kind of hard to find in the middle of the page, but like I said, he's still working on some stuff, so let's give him some time. On his own dime, yeah, it's looking good. Okay, so we have
Busy, if I can say also really quick, I've built websites. I've done, the tree in order to build those out. And sometimes you just don't know until somebody else puts different eyes on it. So, guys, if you want to go check it out, see if you have any suggestions, go ahead and send them to it. I know he responds to those. So.
Yes, he does. Tanya, you're back.
Hey, I just wanted to say the surety bonds, they go all the way down to the school board level. I know surety bonds was a big topic of conversation when people were going up against their school boards for the various things that have been going on in the past 3 years now. So I I think that's a great avenue. I actually forgot about that, and that's just really something to think about because those are personal surety bonds, individual surety bonds. So, anyways, that's all. That's all I was thinking.
Yeah, and he mentioned that in that thread. I actually give this Jen Capella. She posted that in the Idaho group. That's where I picked it up. So that's where I got it. And Tanya, you're right. He mentions that as well. And it looks like, this goes from the top down, and they do not want, because the minute you post it's a lien against that bond, and they do not want that. So I guess from what he's saying, it sounds like they can turn and and help basically do their job, because they don't want that. And especially if we can get enough people doing that, it seems like that might be that might be the actual key here.
Shoo, fire. Yes.
Jen Capella strikes again.
Right on, right on.
All right, Paul T, go ahead, and then Lawrence. And after that, I'm going to shut it down, guys, because I'm answering back a whole bunch of freaking DMs.
I went onto my state AG's site. It's what's in the website is not correct. I sent it anyway, but it's not correct. Just to let Costas know. It's got a female, and according to the website where I live, New Jersey, it's a male. So maybe it's changed. I don't know, but I sent it anyway. I still sent it anyway.
Yeah, we call them bugs, right? When stuff like this happens, those are the bugs that need to be fixed. So
I know, like I said, there's a ton of work on this site. There's bound to be some errors here and there. I saw the site. He did a lot of work. Like I said, just my getting the all the Twitter addresses just for the reps and the senators. I know how long that took me. What he did is even more work. He had to put photos and everything else there and design it. I can't imagine how many hours he must have spent on that, just that alone. So yeah, I can understand how much work he put into it. So yeah, there's gonna be some errors. I'm just letting him know the New Jersey AG is not correct on the website. So if he wants to fix that, that's him.
Up on the mic. Go ahead, Costas.
First off, it's not my site. I don't take any credit from Hollywood Henry. It's all his work. I provided some data, and I can work with him to correct the data. But it's 100% Hollywood and his team built that. I provided like 0.5% of content.
Yeah, he did a ton of work on this then. Yeah, so anyway, if you contact him, you can tell him the New Jersey State AG is not correct on there. It lists a female, and I went on New Jersey site, and it lists a male, so it's obviously not the same. So I mean, I sent it anyway. I mean, it's still going to get to the right office, so that's not a big deal. But you know, I'm a perfectionist, so for me, that would, if I made this site, it would bother me. I don't know how Hollywood Henry is, but that's how I am. I'm anal. And I'm sure a lot of people know that already about me. So, all right, thanks.
Okay, Lawrence, send us out.
All right, thank you. Wes really did a fantastic job of giving us as much information that he could, you know, conceivably give in a professional way. And Busy and Junk, you did a fine job pulling this together and being there and hosting it. Right on, you guys, right on. So one of the most important things that Wes was impressing upon us is his success with the arbitration as a form of remedy for the participants. And I believe that Wes also expressed to us that he's seen and recognizes other things in this picture. And so, of course, it's not the collusion, it's not the fraud and manipulation. All of that occurred because, well, an overabundance of shares, a change in the value of the company, and then the price. And so that was the corruption, the fraud, and the manipulation. And I know that there are other countries now that have enacted legislation, filed charges, and imprisoned participants who are doing these exact same things. Now, I believe that seeing that market reform is necessary, and I believe that it is going to be addressed, and I believe it will also come together very quickly. We've seen how fast other countries are doing it, and it can be done here. For me, my opinion, they just have to strike the rules, the laws, the guidelines, and the loopholes that allowed them to cheat us, to beat us, and all of that fraud and manipulation. You can't have the collusion. You can't have conflict of interest. You got to enforce the failure to deliver. You got to put them on the threshold list and mean it. And then you got a margin column. None of that stuff is going on in our system right now, but all those laws, rules, guidelines, and loopholes are all being utilized so that they can pull this stuff off. And I know that that's the type of reform that they're sweating right now. That's why they don't want us to get there. That's why they're delaying, and deny. Well, like I said, other countries got it together, enacted. They saw the necessity of it to really happen now. And they did. And I know that we can really make it happen. Well, all of us, you know, the eye doesn't say to the ear, I'm greater than you because I'm over here. Everybody's effort was just incredible. But all of us together, like right now, can make it happen. And it's already made happen. They recognize the necessity for reform, and it can be done quick. It really can. And I know Wes is one great, you know, admiral to the fleet, captain to the ship, Junk Savvy, YouTube, Busy, everybody is just a great addition to this whole thing that, well, we all, gosh darn it, you know, they I'm not going to get facetious, but well, I'm going to just drop it here and I'll let you guys fill those words in because I know that you probably feel exactly the same way.
Yes.
So I'll say goodnight and nice going, everybody. Thank you, Wes, for your sharing of the information today as well. I hope you have a wonderful evening and everybody does too.
Thank you, Lawrence.
Thank you.
Okay, Joe, you there? Joe?
Joe Mama.
Hey, what's up? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, so I'm in Kansas, and I reached out to my state attorney general, and they like emailed me back and said to contact like the Kansas Insurance Department. And isn't that what Wes said, that to talk to like your state insurance department because they work pretty closely with the AG, right?
I don't think he said insurance. I think he meant state securities division.
Okay, yeah, sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah, okay, sounds good. I'll do that. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Savvy, we're good. Anything else before I let you guys go?
No, I'm good. Just thank you everybody for listening. And it is recorded, so I'd encourage you if you guys would go back and listen. Just remember again, Wes does not work for Nextbridge. He's not kind of in the middle of everything that's going on in that respect, though he does work with Meta, and of course is working on other cases. And so, but I would encourage you, it's just an hour long. Go back if there's a particular section that you want to get some clarity, listen to it in his own words, and then of course we'll talk about it in the morning. Probably going to go to bed because I'm really tired. I will get up in the morning and listen to it before the space so it can be fresh on my mind. But guys, you guys are why we do this. You know, if I wanted to just have a private conversation with Wes, I can. We do this so that you guys can hear his perspective directly from him. So, you know, hopefully there will be more in the future, especially as the Meta potential lawsuit unfolds. So keep making those phone calls. Keep pushing from every angle, and eventually that pot's going to break. So,
Okay. Anybody else before I go? William, Paul T.
oh, and William, check your text messages. I sent you a text.
Uh-oh.
I know William's in trouble,
Uh-oh.
but it's always good trouble. Okay,
I'm
William.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Call me back if you want.
All right. Thanks, everybody. And one thing, John Hughes said earlier, about the market, I happen to agree with. If one prime broker goes down, the money's just going to another broker dealer. So I don't think it'll destroy the system. Anyway, that's something I forgot to say earlier. Thank you, Busy. Thank you, Junk. And thanks. All of you guys are so impressive. It's amazing just listening.
Teamwork, guys. And let's see what I can come up with for Monday. I'm trying to get some heavy hitters in there, but hey, I'll try my best. But it should be
Busy. What time is that call?
It's gonna be the same time, 6 p.m. Eastern time.
Oh, okay.
But you guys, it's just a lot of scheduling, a lot of back and forth.
You don't want to do it at 6 a.m. West Coast time like I do? Come on, Busy.
No. I mean, and again, hopefully we get some good speakers on there. Especially, I know that a lot of the community members are reaching out to the congressional members, so we'll see who shows up. I mean, let's see who supports the veterans. So this was all Glass Guy. He's the one that he's the one that brought it up. It was Glass Guy's idea. I said, yeah, I'll help you out, and I ended up getting stuck with it. So go figure. But no, they're helping out in the background. And again, Glass Guy, Dr. E, Lowell, Jen, Syntax, geez, everybody. I mean, just everybody's so willing to help out at any given moment. I greatly appreciate everybody that reached out and everybody that puts in the work every single day. I'm exhausted. I get tired. I wake up early and I'm at it, and you guys will be surprised how much my phone rings. But I do it out of the love for the community, right? You know, trying to network and try to help as much as I can. And I know everybody's doing the same thing, so I can't appreciate so much what you guys do for me and my family. But you know, we just got to keep on pushing. Don't give up. We're something has to happen. I mean, we're going on 19 months, Savvy. I mean, I know everybody's exhausted, and you know, we're getting some traction with the AGs, and I'll update some of those groups here pretty soon. But we're getting some traction, and they're listening to us, which is great. It's good to see and good to hear. Let's go to Susie, and that's it, guys, because I want to shut down.
Hey, Busy. Hey, listen, I just want to thank you guys in great space. And I'm hoping that some of the people, I don't know that for confirmation, showed up to Wes's space. But thank you. And also, Busy, I have a lead on a couple people that are veterans here that are even TLP shareholders that I can reach out to. I just didn't know whether, when did you say that space was again? I kind of got this a little late on your space.
It'll be Monday, July 1st, 6
Okay,
p.m.
Monday, July 1st. Yeah, I'll let my neighbors in one of those and a couple other people around that I know that are in that group. So I'll let you know on that.
And I know that the community is reaching out, you know, for the space call so they could send it out to their Congress members. But, you know, unfortunately, we got members either in this community or not in this community that love to sabotage. And I'm pretty much tired of it. So this time I'm going to wait to the very last moment as I can to put it out there.
Yeah, I agree. So I just wanted to get the date on that. So it's July 1st. Yeah, I'll reach out and this person can reach out to several in the community that are veterans, just so you know. Okay.
Yeah, it should be a good one. I mean, Lieutenant Colonel Bradshaw, this is, I believe, right, Savvy?
Yeah,
Is his first
awesome.
time on
And
stage?
there are some other people, that I know of over on LinkedIn that I've reached out to that are actually, maybe not community, but they're members. Anyway, I got what you're calling me, so I'll call you later.
Okay, Susie. Savvy, I don't think he's been on a space, right? I mean, I've never heard him speak.
Sorry, who?
Lieutenant Colonel Bradshaw?
No, I don't believe so.
Yeah, I know that there was communication with his
I'm
son.
excited. I'm not a veteran, but I want to go.
Well, I mean, everybody's invited. It's just
I know. I'm
veteran
just saying.
space. I don't know.
I got to stay up late for you,
You,
Busy. But no, I
uh,
want to listen to him. He has an amazing
you better go
story.
join right now so you have enough time. So you can at least say you're enlisted.
Stop. Yeah, they won't take my 50-year-old ass. I don't know. They may have to. No, I'm just kidding.
So where are we going? I don't know. It might just take you. You're right.
Right? No kidding. Well, Wes, I mean, and you and I both had a private conversation with him, and I don't have any doubt that he is a patriot and he's doing what he believes is good for the country. So, and I happen to agree with him. This corruption has to stop. It is not only undermining the integrity of our markets, it is undermining our social structure, it is undermining our political system, it is undermining our economy, and it is damaging our standing in the world. I mean, guys, we're not just polluting our markets, we're polluting global markets.
Yeah, yeah.
Look at what's happened in the Philippines and South Korea and Singapore. They know it and they're calling us out. That's not going to stop. And when we lose our standing in the world, that impacts our national security. And we've got to fix this, or life as we know it is going to change.
You want to hear something funny? And again, shout out to you know, Wes and then his secretary Holly. They're so good with us, our community.
Okay, that little action on the phone, that was funny.
Well, that's
Like,
what I wanted to tell you.
Ollie!
I text Holly when he did that. I'm like, haha, you got yelled at.
Well, I don't text with her. I just email with her. But if you wouldn't mind sending her a thank you text, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I definitely will. She's great, guys. I mean, talk about, you know, helping out the community. She does a good job trying to reach out to different people to see if we could schedule them. So, you know, she's really for the community. She wants us to succeed, and she's rooting for us. And she was listening in, even though she got yelled at.
Oh, good. Well, and let me say this as well. Somebody asked, I was trying to go through the chat a little bit, but guys, oh my gosh, I had over 110 comments on my chat and then busies as well. But somebody asked, why is Wes coming to us now? Because we asked. That's why. And every time we've asked, he's come and he's done 4 public spaces, and one of them was with the Naked Truth, and then the other 3 have all been with this community and with Busy and I. So they definitely have an appreciation, and we've worked really hard to provide professional spaces where he feels comfortable enough to come, and he has absolutely shown this community preferential treatment, and we really appreciate him for that. But he came, guys, no motive, no agenda. He came because we asked. I believe somebody actually asked you, Busy. They said, hey, can you get Wes to come talk to us? And you're like, okay.
I,
I think that's
but
actually how that went down.
see, but the thing is that it was in your space in the morning. But I mean, I
Yeah.
got his number and I just text him, and I really never do. I think it was like the last space call that I even text him up, and I was just like, "Hey, did you want to join another space call with the MMTLP community?" He was like, "Yeah, just contact Holly."
And
So, go
even
ahead.
that he remembered the last one was 6 months ago with Dr. Shapiro.
Yeah,
You know, so, and guys, he is insanely busy. He even said he's got 3 active cases, he's got 4 in the pipe. And so, he was lamenting to us. He's like, look, guys, I don't even have time for this hour-long chat we've had. I don't have time for the space, but I'm doing it anyway. So we do appreciate his time. And he does come from a particular perspective. He's a litigator, he's a civil litigator. It's what he does. And just like other attorneys, they believe that the resolution is through that process. Well, he may be right,
you
but
know,
until we've exhausted our effort with Congress, until we get that door finally slammed in our face, we're going to continue to push at Congress.
I'm just shocked that. I mean, I understand because I go through it too. That sometimes I invite these guests on board, and sometimes I fail, but sometimes I'm successful. But it takes a process for them to understand and learn about not only what's going on in the markets, right, but what's going on with MMTLP. But the ones that I'm disappointed in, the ones that do fight for what's going on in the markets, and then you reach out to them and they don't want to. And I don't want to name names right now, but I will later on. But it's really disappointing. And some of them have big YouTube, channels, and they're for the markets, quote unquote, for the markets, but they don't want to come and join us. So I find that kind of weird. But I'm not gonna name names right now, but I will. And I know you guys are brought up someone, you know, in the DM group, but it's just kind of concerning if these people are for market reform, or they've been here battling this same thing for years, and you invite them. Like, why wouldn't you want to support MMTLP? We're in the forefront. Everybody else is still trading. We're not. Got a phone call, so that was my cue. Sorry, guys. Anyways, let's keep on pushing forward, and then I'll try to set up a good one for Monday, and let's host Mr. Bradshaw, Lieutenant Colonel Bradshaw, and I don't know who the co-host is gonna be. Again, shout out to Glass Guy for
Well,
even putting
maybe
that up.
Glass Guy needs to be your co-host, Busy.
He didn't. I told him, but he was like, "I'm not a veteran. I mean, I don't think you need to be a veteran. It's just showing appreciation to."
Hey, I'm not a veteran either. I just have a very big
Your,
soft spot in my heart for
well, your
them.
dad
So
was a Marine, so
he was. And my uncle served in the Air Force. My other uncle served in the Army. My dad's father was a belly bomber. I don't remember which war. Sorry, guys. I have currently members that serve in multiple branches, including in county and state law enforcement. So, yeah, yeah.
and again, I know that Sam I am is putting stuff out there, and Southern, I see you on here. I'm not keeping anybody out from the space. You guys are veterans. You guys more than welcome to attend, but that's not the way I roll. I'm not gonna keep you guys out. I know what you guys went through in the military. You know, I love my
And that is
veterans.
why I will not be co-hosting.
So,
we'll get a co-host in there. We'll get someone in.
but
I will be attending
I
though.
am gonna have the speaker panel set. So I'm not sure how we're gonna run it. If we're gonna have people come up and share their thoughts and opinions. I still got to get with my co-hosts and see how we're gonna. Because usually you're the one that's handling all that stuff. I'm just trying to make the connection. So now I get to work. But it'll be good. I'm happy that that glass guy came up with that, and I know he reached out to Eli Crane. Um, that's something that he's trying to set up. I don't know if he already got through to him. I know that some other community members are reaching out to other congressional members. So let's see what happens. I mean, I hope a lot of the congressional members show up. It'll be an interesting conversation, right? Shit, if it was up to me, all 74 that signed the letter should be showing up. So we'll see. All right. Thank you.
Okay, it's in the can, Busy.
We'll
It's
work.
in the can.
All right, guys.